Area School District Board of Directors to order. Could we please rise for the pledge? And we have a guest tonight, Dr. Need, if you could
Yes,
guests.
I'm really excited. Tonight we have second grader Gavin Malero with us and fifth grader Emmett Geringer, who are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Gentlemen, you could turn on your microphone and be ready to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. You represented the primary school in the Liberty Valley very well tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. We got a roll call of those present, Terry.
Mr. Garman.
Here.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Dr. Green. Mrs. Heater.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Reichard.
Here.
Mr. Vognetz.
Here.
Mr. Brookart.
Here. Number 2 is the election of a temporary president. Board will take action to elect blank as temporary president to run the meeting until the election of a new board president. Temporary president must be elected by and from holdover board members, of which we have one. Holdover board members are those who are continuing their terms of office, and excludes any members who are newly elected or re-elected, which is the rest of us, in the November 2023 election. The purpose of electing a temporary president is to run the meeting until the election of a new board president. The holdover board member for this meeting is Richard Vognetz. Could I have a recommendation or a nomination of Mr. Vognetz?
I will nominate Mr. Vognetz.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Are there any other nominations? I didn't think so. All in favor, we're going to just do this by consent. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Vognetz, you are now running the meeting.
All right. The board secretary will read us the certificates of election. No, not yet.
Yes.
Yes. June Heater, 4-year term. Sandy Green, 4-year term. Darrell Reichard, 4-year term. Tyler Garman, 4-year term. Wayne Brookart, 2-year term. And Carrie Hoffman, 2-year term.
All right. District Justice William Wilt will administer the following oaths.
Everybody that's being sworn, you have a copy to read along.
Their copies are in the...
There's a statement right in the agenda as well that you could follow.
If you have it on your agenda, we can sign these.
Yes.
Okay, if everybody that's being sworn in, if you would rise. Raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support,
obey, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution of the United States
and the
Constitution of this Commonwealth.
and that I will discharge office with fidelity.
I will discharge the duties of my office.
Thank you.
It's Tyler Garman's.
Sign them and stamp them.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Don't need this, do you? No, I think so.
I will take it.
Thank you.
All right. You all have attached to the agenda a list of all the qualified, legally elected, and appointed members of the Board of School Directors for the year now beginning. Does anyone see any errors or inaccuracies in this list? Does anyone desire that the list be read aloud? Moving on to the election of the board president. The board will take action to elect blank as president of the Board of School Directors effective December 4th, 2023. A board president must be elected by the newly constituted board. Open the floor up for the nomination for president.
I nominate Wayne Brookhart.
I'm declining the nomination. I appreciate it.
I'll nominate Sandy Green.
Any other nominations? Need a motion to close the nominations for president.
I'll make a motion to close the nominations for president.
Vote for president. If there is more than one nominee, a voice vote will be taken. That's all done. The elected president begins presiding over the meeting upon election. Guess we swap chairs now.
That's it? We're good? Congratulations, Dr. Green.
I'm not sure whether it's a congratulations or I'm sorry. Wayne, now you get to sit on an island.
All three spots. Versa.
Agenda item 6.1, election of board vice president. The board will take action to elect blank as a vice president of the Board of School Directors effective December 4th, 2023. I'm going to open the floor to nominations for vice president.
Nominate Richard Vognitz.
Do we have any other nominations? Then I will close nominations. Motion?
Do we need a motion to close?
Need a motion to close.
Motion to close nomination?
A motion.
Second?
Second.
Congratulations, Rich. 7.1, meeting dates and locations for the calendar year 2024. The board will take action to approve the Danville School Board meeting schedule for calendar 2024. And if I remember, we're moving to Wednesdays?
We previously were. I'm going to make a motion that that be done, if that's the will of the board.
I
If we
second
don't,
that.
if we stay with the second Monday, we're going to run into compliance with appointing our new board member. We have
Correct.
to deal with that, so that's my recommendation, or motion.
Second.
Okay, vote.
The motion was first Monday, or first Wednesday, I'm sorry.
First Wednesday.
First Wednesday.
Which will put us the third. of
Mr.
May.
Garmin?
Four.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Green?
Yes?
Mrs. Heater?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
Mr. Wagnitz?
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart?
Yes.
Anything else we need to do with that? Because we don't need to do anything with committees yet or anything along those lines.
On here.
No, but nothing else with the actual schedule. Okay. Perfect. So 8.1, appoint committee members. The board president will appoint committee members to the 2024 calendar year. Finance and budget, academic affairs, buildings and grounds, athletics and extracurricular, health and wellness, long-range planning committee, CMAVTS, CSIU, EITC, Head Start, and the CS Trust. So why don't we start with Finance and Budget Committee? Who would like to head that? Rich, do you want to continue?
Yeah, it don't matter.
Do we actually need a formal nomination for that, or I just appoint?
No, you
just
appoint.
appoint.
The only
Okay.
ones we need formal, I'm sorry.
So Rich, why don't we appoint you to that?
Just so you're aware.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From you.
Is there anyone else who would like to be on the Finance Committee with Rich for now?
You have 2 new people coming on, too.
Correct. So we can always wait.
I'm fine with being a part of that one if you'd like.
Are you?
Yeah, sure.
All right, wait. Academic Affairs? Mrs. Heater?
Sure.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to be on the Academic Affairs? I mean, I plan on going to them, but. Okay. Buildings and Grounds.
I will be.
Daryl, you want to run it? Would anyone else like to be on Buildings and Grounds? I'm just seeing if anyone else. You okay? Okay, Carrie. Athletics and extracurricular. Rich? You
Okay.
want to take that again?
Yep.
I figured. I knew you'd be excited. Would anyone else like to be on that committee? Carrie? Tyler?
Yeah, I'll take it.
You both can be on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I am happy to take the Health and Wellness Committee unless someone else wants it. One of the reasons I originally got on the board, so. All right, would anyone like to join me? Well, and then we'll see who comes on the board, because there may be people there. Maybe. Okay? Because I'd like to have at least 2 to 3 members on each committee, right?
Mm-hmm. You have to have at least 3
So we'll get there.
or a quorum.
Long Range Planning Committee.
I'd do that one.
I was going to say, Wayne, I think you're appropriate for that.
I'll do it too.
We'll do it, Rich. And so I should leave the next 2, because we have to actually,
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to appoint,
all right.
like, vote on that.
EITC?
Yeah, they only meet, what, quarterly, right?
Tyler, would you consider taking that on? Once a quarter?
Yeah, I can.
Get you involved in some other places? Daryl, you want Head Start again?
Yes.
Assume that. And the CS Trust. Gary, would you be willing? Okay. And then when we get the other board members, we'll make sure that there's at least 3 people who are assigned to each committee, so I may ask you to do some additional things. But let's see how it settles out and what they want to do. So 8.2, CSIU representative. So the board will take action to appoint blank as the Danville Area School Board representative of the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit for the 2024 calendar year. Do we have any nominations?
Green, I think that was another one where we put a new board member on just because it's a way you learn the entire
Sure.
intermediate unit. So I don't know how you'd like to proceed, but if no one wants it, it might be something for
Okay.
new people. That's how Sam took it.
If that's your recommendation, I think that makes a lot of
It's a good learning
sense.
experience to be down there because you're with every district at that point.
So does it need to be formally tabled? So
Make a
can
motion to table the appointment of the CSIU rep.
we have a second?
Second.
Vote?
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 8.3, CMAVTS representative. So the board will take action to appoint blank and blank as the Danville Area School Board representative to the Columbia Montour Vocational Technical School for the 2024 calendar year. Does anyone have any interests or any nominations?
I'll do that.
Okay. Someone, I can nominate him. I will nominate Tyler Garmin. You have a second?
Second.
Is there anyone else who'd like, I guess we vote on that first, correct? And then do the second nomination?
Need 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Do them
nominate both?
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll nominate Richard Vognetz as a second rep.
Rich, you interested?
Yeah.
I'll second that. You have a vote?
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. And 9.1, adjourn the organizational meeting, the reorganizational meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Can we just do a voice vote on that? Yes, if you agree? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any objections? All right, adjourn. Right into the next. I just reopened the full meeting again, the same way. All righty.
Pretend we're in a whole
Let's do it again. So, so call to order. So we will do the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence. Did the kids already leave?
They did.
We don't get a twofer?
They're going to bed, I think.
I mean, I
It's a school
would have
night.
hoped we got both rounds out of them.
It's a school night, I think.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. One point two, roll call.
Mr. Garmin,
Here.
Mrs. Heater,
Here.
Mr. Hoffman,
Here.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Here.
Mr. Brookhart,
Here.
Dr. Green.
Here. 1.3, minutes. The board will take action to approve the meeting minutes from November 13th, 2023, board meeting as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Who was that? Who's second? Earl. Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 2.1, reports. The board will hear from the individual committees. I'm not sure there'll be a lot to report because we skipped a fair amount of this. Anything from finance and budget?
We haven't had a meeting since last.
And academic affairs, we didn't either.
No meeting.
And building and grounds?
We didn't either.
Okay. So I have a feeling it's going to be the same for all of these. Athletics?
We haven't had a meeting.
Wellness, we didn't. We don't have the representatives from the others. Head Start, anything?
Nothing
New?
of great nature, no. Everything's about the same.
Perfect. NCS Trust. All right. 3.1, enrollment report. The files are attached.
Yeah, for our superintendent's report tonight, we are keeping it brief in light of a double meeting here, but we are sharing some enrollment data. You'll see the number as our current enrollment in each grade level, with the number of parentheses being where we were a month ago. So our enrollment is extremely stable across primary, valley, middle, and high school. And our enrollment at VOTEC has stayed exactly the same as it did last month. If you go to the next screen, Mr. Ryan, you'll take a look at our non-public enrollment report. So we're down to 397 from last month's 400, and we've also stayed relatively stable here, with outside cybers and homeschool students staying exactly the same as they were the month before, and a very slight decrease in Christian schools. And if you take a look at the next slide, I did share this with board members, but just wanted the community to know as well that we were able to close on the land across from the primary school last week. So that's been a long time coming. I think Mr. Sokolowski might be talking about that in his presentation as well, but did want to let the public know that. In terms of the next slide, you'll just see mid-year testing. By February, we should have a presentation for you about our mid-year testing report. So students in December and in January will be taking both norm and criterion reference testing like we talked about at the beginning of the year, so that we can see their growth in that area. So we will come in February with a presentation to the board to show where we are in terms of growth. Our administrators have once again prepared board reports for all of you. I sent them electronically, and you'll find them in your packets, but I'll go ahead and start with Mr. Gump at the high school, and each person will share one item from their report.
Okay, thank you. The course selection guide for the 24-25 school year is currently being drafted. We have received input from teachers and department leads, and we again will put that in front of the Academic Affairs Committee in January. That is our plan. And then we are hoping to have that in front of the school board for February, so that we can begin meeting with all of our students who will be back next year, including our 8th graders, as we prepare next year's schedule. And as I hand this over to Mr. Varhalak, I just want to draw your attention to the 95.12% daily attendance rate at the high school. 95% or greater is our goal. And Mr. V is going to talk a little bit about how we are striving towards that goal.
Yeah, so if you look at in section 3 there, there's multiple things that we're doing, which I'll give you a chance to look at those. A lot of things that are promoting student attendance, not only staff working extremely hard to meet and talk about improving student attendance, but also making phone calls home, and also we're holding a lot of cultural events within the building that is obviously showing to improve students' experiences at the high school, and obviously drawing them into the building. One of the things, and if you look in section 5 under disciplinary reports there, we are making some strides with with that as well. And one of the cultural events that we're holding here at the end of December, we're also going to base some of the criterion on that for be able to get into that event would be to improve attendance. So all of that combined will hope to obviously not only improve discipline, but improve attendance as well. So.
Thank you. Mr. Snover.
Just to kind of maybe piggyback a little bit off of Mr. Varhalik's cultural events at the school, I'd like to talk briefly. We every month we're doing what's called Forge Friday. We run a early dismissal day at the middle school. Students don't go home. They get to participate in a wide choice of fun activities that are led by various teachers and other personnel within the school. So it's really designed as a way to connect students and teachers who have like interests or are excited about kind of some of the same hobbies or activities. Students get to, they have a fair amount of ability to pick which activity they would like to join. So there's anything from, chess or fishing, golf. We have, cooking. There's a whole variety of different things. We do that every month, and we're going into our fourth month of it, and students really seem to be enjoying that. The other thing I'd like to highlight, if you'll notice, and it's on the board agenda as far as a field trip, we do have our 8th grade VOTEC visit coming up actually next week. This was set up this year as only students who have some degree of possible interest in attending VOTEC attending. And we left it at that, and as of Friday, we had 127 students express interest in going on the trip. Now, I have to, the caveat being they probably realized that they got out of a little over half a day of school by going, but, on a positive note, 127 out of our 170 some 8th graders have expressed interest in going and at least touring the facility and seeing what it's all about. And I know there is certainly some excitement over, the revamped building and the new programs, and so we're excited to be able to take that many 8th graders to the facility.
Thank you, Mr. Snover. Dr. Reinard?
Thank you. Okay, sorry. I have to apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so I might be sniffly. Sorry. But throughout the month of November and today, we have our after-school professional development sessions on Wednesday, so we had one this afternoon. But we have been focusing at Liberty Valley on, in the ELA department, on text-dependent analysis writing. And through our conversations, we decided as an ELA team to complete a survey before we started. And through that survey, the Google Forms survey, we found that one of the biggest needs in our building was consistency with close reading. So because of that need, we had developed and worked closely with our reading specialists, Mrs. Sarah Woodward and Mrs. Lauren Day, to develop a whole building close reading set of mini lessons. Mrs. Day and Mrs. Woodward actually completed every student at Liberty Valley as of today has received a consistent close reading instruction from our reading specialist. They went in, I was able to observe their lessons. I had said today in our professional development meeting that I had the chills watching the two of them. It was really awesome to see them providing 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students with a foundation of how to close read. Close reading is basically the basis for our text-dependent analysis work. So if our students can't read in the manner that we need them to in terms of actually digging deep and finding the answers to their questions, we can't even teach them how to write because that foundation hasn't been created. So in order to make sure that every single student has the exact same foundation, like I said, our reading specialists were able to provide that to them yesterday and today. And like I said, it was an amazing thing to see. They kind of, changed their schedules around to make this work, but it was really awesome. And again, I got the chills because Liberty Valley has 2 of probably the best reading specialist I've ever seen. They were just phenomenal. So it's really cool to just say that through talking to our teachers and through the work that we're doing, we're able to make sure that our students are consistently receiving support in reading.
Thank you, Dr. Reiner. Mrs. Geis?
At the primary school, many of our teachers are completing letters training, which is science of reading based training. All of our kindergarten teachers are taking the course, and our first and second grade reading teachers are taking it right now. They are currently completing their third unit of sessions during the month of December. And this course is a study just based in the science of reading that teaches the how, what, and why of literacy acquisition. And it's really neat to see as a admin going into the classroom and seeing everything that they're learning being.
Thank you, Mrs. Geis. Ms. Wenrick?
So we're continuing to look into the MTSS process, and from the elementary school, which consists of Liberty Valley and DPS, we have had approximately 50 referrals to the MTSS tier system, and we are now looking at the information based on those tiers at what interventions need to be provided for those individual students, and we're going to be developing after-school PDs based on those interventions that are needed from the referrals. So that's what we're looking into at the elementary level.
Thank you. Mrs. Willoughby?
Well, one highlight from my board report is the Act 158 requirements for our graduates. So the past few weeks, the guidance department, myself, and high school administration have gone individual by individual and made sure that all students are set for graduation, and if they are not, we have a plan in place for each student. So I feel like that's very important and wanted to highlight that.
Can I say one more thing real quick? I'm sorry. We have our first bocce game of the season, December 18th. It's home match, and we're playing, I believe, Central Columbia. So 4 o'clock in the gym.
I would encourage you, if you've never been to a bocce ball match, maybe it's called, but you've got to check it out. It's a wonderful experience. Mr. Ryan?
All right, real quick, let me do 2 things at once here. So basically, real quick, as far as performance goes, everything's running great. I gotta take this out of my ear; it's distracting. Everything's running great. So the real thing that I want to highlight at this point is, December is the end of November. December is a big time for us to do maintenance, come in on downtime when the school's down to, take care of things to make sure there's no downtime to the district. So we'll be doing a lot of work over the breaks. So there's a lot of things going on, as far as maintenance it goes, and there's some projects going on here and there. We, try to limit everything, a lot of things from happening during the school year. Summers and breaks are good for us because, we don't want any downtime for the school district, but there's a lot going on in technology and moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Dr. Green, that concludes our superintendent's report.
Thank you. So there was an agenda item that didn't arrive in time to be added per the normal course. So we actually need a motion to amend the agenda. The item is a field trip. And the motion is the board will take action to amend the agenda to add approval of the budgeted field trip December 15th, 2023 for the chamber choir to sing to the residents of Williamsport South Nursing Facility. That'll be added as item 7.1, field trips. This item was recently presented to the administration for approval and wasn't added to the agenda in time. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Make the motion to amend the agenda.
I'll second.
A vote?
Public
Public comment first on amending the agenda. So only on this item. Does anyone have a public comment?
7.1 only, right?
We're just talking about
This is
a field
public-
trip.
Adding the field trip. If you have any comments on adding this to the agenda? Close public comment? Vote?
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Dr. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater.
Yes.
So that will be added to the agenda, 7-1.
Yes.
We're now going to open public comment, max of 3 minutes, agenda items only. If you have public comment, please come up to the mic on agenda items. Once, going twice. All right, closing public comment. There's nothing for section 5, no outside guests. 6.1, high school gym floor resurfacing. The board will take action to approve All American Athletics co-star contract number listed to resurface the high school gym floor at the cost of $37,500 using capital reserve funds per the attached quote. You want to talk a little bit about it, Rich? Athletics committee surrounding it.
Well, I know, the gym floor gets resurfaced every 5 years, I believe. Am I correct? Every 3 to 5 years?
It depends. Oh, it gets a refinish probably almost every year, quite frankly, where it's just take the top off, the top coat, redo that. In terms of resurfacing, it depends on the finish, how well the paint lasts, how well things last. In this particular case, this includes all the striping for volleyball lines, which have been added. It also includes the drilling out of the cores for the holes for poles that are needed for volleyball, for the systems to be as highly functioning as we would like them to be and as we quite frankly need them to be. And then it really kind of in terms of design, that is still open. We just wanted to make sure that if we were going to do this project and it included all the things we needed to be done, that we got approval now so that we can get on the calendar for the summer in order for it to take place. I would like to point out that we did actively pursue several different quotes for this. This was the most competitive in terms of what could be done and what the cost was.
Now, the work's going to be done in the summer. This is the exact cost? It's not going to change then?
It would not exceed that. If we get closer to, we would confirm that obviously, and if there were any additional costs for anything that needed to be added, we would come back and ask for a revised cost. But this is the coring, and really what they said is design is really not going to change the cost. Every company actually said that. A significant cost of this is actually those cores that need to be drilled down in order to put the poles in the correct locations to be able to add those.
So do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 6.2, Liberty Valley Playground Equipment. The board will take action to approve the purchase of playground equipment from AAA State of Play for the Liberty Valley Elementary School at the cost of $14,830 funded from capital reserve. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
We talked about this previously, that they needed prior board.
I can fill in. Obviously, there was a lot of damage done to what was there previously prior to the school year. We, again, actively pursued several different quotes for comparable equipment. Actually, this one, it wasn't even close. We're getting this under a significant discount from what the other companies are. I mean, I don't remember the exact numbers, but almost half. Yeah. So this is, what's in front of us is a great deal for our kids.
Mr. Vognetz.
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart.
Yes.
Mr. Garmin.
Yes.
Mrs. Heater.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Reichard.
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 7.1, field trips. The board will take action to approve the December 2023 field trip list as presented. Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Mr. Brookhart.
Yes.
Mr. Garmin.
Yes.
Mrs. Heater.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Reichard.
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz.
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 7.2, Fire Club. The board will take action to approve establishing the Danville High School Fire Club as an established club at Danville High School with Eric Franz as a volunteer advisor. Do I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Garmin.
Yes.
Mrs. Heater.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Reichard.
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz.
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart.
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
And Mr. Franz is here this evening, so I just would like to say thank you for bringing that to the district, and certainly as a community member, just very thankful for all of our volunteer firefighters in the community, and thank you for being a leader for our young folks.
Apologize. My wife is asking me to do something, so. But she cannot do it herself.
She doesn't know you're president yet.
I do not know if she knows or doesn't know. But let's be honest, her priorities come first for me, always.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly. 8.1, kindergarten. I'm probably beat red right now. 8.1, kindergarten, 8th grade special curriculum overview documents, second reading. The board will take action to approve the second reading of the kindergarten 8th grade specials curriculum overview documents as presented. Can I get a motion?
I motion.
Second.
Do we have any questions? Okay.
Mr. Garmin.
Yes.
Mrs. Heater.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Reichard.
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz.
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart.
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 10.1, financial reports. We don't have to take any action on them. They're just.
Just
He's
an update
prepared a
first.
quick
Perfect.
update for us.
First thing on there is the Employee Assistance Program. Our policy is up for renewal. That runs for the calendar year. It is slightly lower. It benefits all of our employees, and we appreciate supporting that renewal. Second item, Dr. Need already sort of mentioned a little bit about it, the land acquisition of approximately 20 acres. We closed on that the week after Thanksgiving. We appreciate all the support, and we'll move forward with that acquisition. Third item, the annual financial report for June 30th was filed with PDE, and now we wait for their review. It was accepted, so it'll take several weeks until it's actually reviewed and any questions that might come up. Next item is our 24-25. We voted on that last month, the budget resolution that we will not raise taxes above the index. That was filed and accepted. Last item is our auditors are still in my office on and off and will continue for the next several months. So we will update you with that. As soon as I get an audit report, you'll be the first one to have that in your hands. That's all I have.
Great.
I ask the annual financial report. What's that showing? Fund balance, any
We had a surplus, so it was a good year.
Okay.
So until the audit actually finalizes everything.
What was submitted in the AFR as a surplus?
$1.4 million.
So our surplus for the previous year was $1.4 million.
June 30th, correct. On 23.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. Good.
10.2.
I'm sorry, Dr. Green.
Yes.
I'm
Go
looking at you because you and I went through a lot with this.
Yes, we did.
So, in our budget this year, we were $600,000 off of the fund balance. However, if some of the collections remain the same as they were, because we wouldn't have known all those things in terms of the ITC. EIT, not EATC.
Right.
That's a pretty optimistic outlook.
Yes.
Early. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're very
Good,
happy.
okay.
Good news. So 10-2, November 2023 financial reports. And they're just attached, no action needed.
Correct.
And same with 10-3, November 2023 cash receipt. 10-4, bills for payment, November 9th, 2023 through November 30th, 2023. The board will take action to approve bills for payment for November 9th, 2023 through November 30th, 2023 as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Abstain.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 11-1, personnel consent items. The board will take action to approve personnel items 11-2 through 11-10. Does anyone want to remove any of those for an individual?
A motion.
Second.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
Dr. Green, I'd just like to acknowledge that in that group of consent items, we did accept the resignation of Mrs. Willoughby. I'd like to thank her for her service to Danville. She's done an outstanding job as assistant principal at the high school, principal of the Danville Primary School, and now as our secondary principal of intervention and special education. I wish you truly all the best in the next position, and you'll be missed here. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck, Amy.
Yeah, thank you for everything you've done for the district. 11-11, 2023-2024 winter coach list. The board will take action to approve the 2023-2024 winter coach list as presented.
Motion.
A second.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart, Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 11-12, new hire, guidance counselor. The board will take action to approve Jordan Rickert as guidance counselor at the high school at the contracted yearly salary rate of $77,937, step 12, MS plus 30, effective upon the release of their current employer. Can I get a motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart, Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
And Miss Rickard is actually here with us, so welcome to the district. We're really excited to have you on board.
11-13, new hire, ELA teacher. The board will take action to approve the employment of David, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, Tozek, as ELA teacher at the middle school at the contracted yearly salary of $57,993, BS Step 3, with the effective date to be determined based upon the release of current employment. Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Mr. Brookhart, Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
And Mr. Tosick is actually also with us this evening, so also a big welcome to the Danville family. We're glad to have you both join us. Thank you.
Tosick? Tosick. I would have been one of those kids. 11-14, new hire, ELA teacher. The board will take action to approve the employment of Allison Deal as an ELA teacher at the contracted yearly salary of $56,993 BS Step 1, effective January 3rd, 2024, pending recept of all documentation.
Motion.
Yep. Second.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 11:15. Oh,
I don't believe Allie's here, but we're really excited about her. Can't see everyone, just making sure.
Quick question.
Yes.
How is the applicant pool? We hear about
The app-
shortages and low
the-
applicant pools.
The applicant pool for the English position was extremely strong. So congratulations,
Yes.
Mr. T, on being our top applicant. But we were extremely impressed with the quantity and the quality of applicants. The same was also true for guidance. So honestly, 2 joyous days last week where I was just impressed over and over again by our candidates.
I would say over the past 7 years, those two combined, 2 of the strongest pools for any position that I've seen administratively.
And we did hire also a mental health specialist earlier this year in terms of a hire before this, also an extremely strong applicant pool. So we've been very pleased with the openings this year with the quality and quantity of applicants we've been getting.
11:15, long-term substitute emotional support teacher. The board will take action to approve the employment of Sean Sheptalk as a long-term substitute emotional support teacher at the high school at the contracted yearly salary of $56,693 BS Step 1.
Second.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 11:16, long-term substitute band music teacher. The board will take action to approve the employment of Hunter Horn as a long-term substitute band music teacher at the middle school at the contracted yearly salary of $56,693 BS Step 1, pending certification. Hunter is able to start December 11th, 2023 as a certified guest teacher. This in part because of the vacancy created by the
This is
promotion.
Mr. Haravi moving into his position, and I would like to note that we're excited about Hunter, and he is a Danville graduate as well, so that's always exciting to see.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart,
Yes.
Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 11:17, new hire custodian. The board will take action to approve the employment of Elizabeth Kinsley as a custodian at Liberty Valley Intermediate School at the contracted hourly rate of $13.70 effective December 4th, 2023. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart, Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. 12:1, employee assistant program renewal agreement. The board will take action to approve the employee assistance program, EAP, agreement with ESI for the period of January 1st, 2024 to December 31st. Is that right? Those dates?
Yes, it would be like the 2024 calendar
December,
year.
sorry. My brain caught on that for a second. December 31st, 2024, as presented. Does anyone have any questions? Can I get a motion?
Second.
Mr. Vognetz,
Yes.
Mr. Brookhart, Mr. Garmin,
Yes.
Mrs. Heater,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes. Nothing in section 13, section 14. Board concerns, items for the next meeting agenda.
I have a couple
You-
of
you
things I
wanna
want
do
to
that
bring
now?
up then.
Do that after. After we adjourn.
You want to do it after we adjourn? Okay. 14.1, board concerns, next meeting agenda. Anyone have anything?
I have a few things. That was great news, and I mentioned comments, but I also think it would not be fair to not recognize the budget committee that we had with Richard and with Earl and with Sherry, who is no longer on board, but the work that they did along with Mr. Sokolowski and Mr. Moser and Dr. Need filled in, and it was part of it because we were struggles, I think, at one point. It sounds like credit to everybody for that. We now purchased the land across from the primary, and we should start to determine what we might want to do with it. It's been 5 years since that initial discussion was held, and I think we closed it. Well, we just closed the deal, but we came to an agreement in about 2019, I believe. We probably should be at least considering some type of a study to be done. I know the board at about 2021 had one. They're generally Department of Ed in 2 years or so. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to either get an update with the architect we had or get another architect to come in and do a study. I know it was not done in isolation. There were certain things that depended on. I think it's something at least for discussion if you want to do it through buildings and grounds or through a long-range planner or whatever the case may be at some point, that discussion. Creatively, whatever path you were looking at, certainly, you know, get your recommendations out there, but an RFP may be in order. Architect, I think, was KCBA.
KCBA.
It was, yes.
Architect, you could either go with them and follow through with what you had and just modify, or start over and get something. I'm not putting out the path I think we
Sure.
should go. We should talk about it.
I think the long-range planning committee is the perfect kind of vehicle for us to take on that work.
Okay. And in conjunction with that, if there is anything done, I think the initial thought was fields and athletic type things, and I know there were some later discussions about maybe other, whatever we can do to get the best possible facility of whatever type we're getting over there and keep the taxpayers' interests in mind. A lot of places are having capital campaigns, nations, and Richard, you've been talking about alternate sources of revenue for 2 years, and we never really got it going. Characterized by some previous something in the paper, and that was then
Mm-hmm.
they put out there were unfair to you. You were right on, and it's something. Districts out in central PA raising. Have here, that might be it. Probably ought to at least look at a foundation. 501c3. Pass that kind of funding through.
With the past administration, there was the Ironman Foundation set up. I don't know, since those administrators left, I don't know if that's still.
Yeah, and I think that's been around for a while, but I'm not the one really to weigh in. I think probably Mike or some people with a little expertise. But yes, I'm suspecting that may not be the proper pass-through for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, that foundation was set up through the Community Giving Foundation. I think in this instance, we may want to consider developing our own nonprofit, and I know that Mike has some experience with that, so I think that's the direction we might want to move.
That's all I have.
I have one thing. Jason, have we heard anything on, I know we brought this to the board level, we've had discussions at the board level. Have you heard anything from Watchfire?
I have not received anything from them beyond the packaging of going out and helping to fund. They are supposed to be getting me some mock-ups and some price ranges that we would be able to then kind of look at and determine if we wanted to go in, like, again, purchase, look at purchasing, look at helping to have them help fund us. That's a third party through Watchfire. Watchfire itself doesn't actually, like, they don't contract with you to do the funding, but they work with a third party.
Right.
But I have been in contact with them. I do understand the, essentially they, up front, until you hit a certain point, they absorb sort of the less of a commission, but then beyond a certain point, their commission goes up over the length of the contract. So it's slightly different than the Daktronics that we looked at, which was they don't take anything off. And there's pros and cons to both. But once I get more information on an actual physical product, then I'll be going from there, and I'll be bringing that to everybody's attention.
I have one thing, and Rich, I just need your advice, whether this is something that should go to Athletics Committee to be discussed, or whether this is something that should be brought in front of the board. So right now, cheerleading is designated a club, even though they're actively competing, and they're looking to do events that are essentially effectively at the same level as any other sports organization does at the high school level as a competitive sport. Right now, they are a club, and that means they receive no funding, and they've done a fairly impressive job of funding their uniforms, everything else, in order to do this.
We do provide their uniforms and their coach stipend.
Okay,
So it is a club, but they are getting
Getting some.
DANVO
They are
funds.
funded, yes.
And they actually this year did choose to stay at club status because it was their first year to try competitive to just see what the response is. But it would definitely be worth pursuing the spring to say, how is it going, and maybe hear from their coach.
So that's what I wanted us to start thinking about.
Okay,
Whether we
yeah,
actually
that's
want to
great.
make them a formal sport.
Yep.
With a budget and everything else.
And one other thing also.
Yeah, athletics.
Sure, Mr. George, could you speak to the
HVAC control, the proposal was put out today. The HVAC. What is it? We have 4 schools. Old one does. Oh, Siemens? Yes. Okay. Intertwined. Brought them in to look at it. Most systems I can go in and room in the high school.
Can you talk into a mic? There are people at home who can't actively hear what you're saying.
I haven't heard you guys all night. I've heard nothing.
It's probably better that way.
So we had a Siemens tech on site. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. To look at another unit, Univents, that were actually scheduled to be worked on long before I got here. And we brought him in to look at this actuator because it wasn't opening up. And it is a programming issue. We circumvented it. Room's working now. It's nice and comfortable. But when we started bringing the companies in for the RFP, they're coming in and looking at our system and saying, wait a minute, Liberty Valley was just redone. Now I'm reviewing that contract that we just did for the renovations at Liberty Valley because I know the upgrade to the HVAC system was in that. That is an old system. It looks like they just put fancy little graphics on it.
Who's that?
Siemens.
Okay.
So when I tried to download the information of all the points, I can't do it. I can do all three other schools, but I can't do that one. Even going there and plugging into the units, I can't download the information. So I had Siemens in my office 4 months ago, I think it was. And I asked them to explain to me, actually it was longer than that because that's when we got out of their service contract. I asked them to explain to me exactly what we're getting for $85,000 a year. Nobody could tell me, which is one of the reasons we ended the service contract with them. And we do T&M, we have to, on their equipment that is proprietary. But for our normal PM, we had a guy here that would change the filters, change the belts, clean the coils, and these are all rooftop units. And that's all we're contracted out besides chillers and boilers. Okay, so the classroom units are not part of the contract. I'm getting all that for $35,000 a year. Okay, and that's McClure probably in every school around anymore. So there's a lot of issues with the system, and we need to get around it, get away from it.
So these issues just started? These issues just started when you got here?
No.
Because the Siemens system's been around for a long time.
Yes.
I remember talking about this when
The
I was
issues,
before.
from what I can gather, the maintenance person that took care of all that before I got here, he retired 2 weeks after. He left 2 weeks after I got here because he retired. Okay, so we have another guy that took it over, and he's been dealing with it. And we still call the old guy once in a while. When they did the overlay, the integration, that's when everything went bad. And here's the thing, if we lose our server,
Right.
because it's all server-based, middle school has no heat, no air conditioning. Done. Because it's all that information is stored on the server. The other schools, at least, it's stored on the control boards. And, you know, Siemens has told me that nobody wanted to put money into the middle school. I understand that. But you still have to have a functioning system. So I don't know. Jeff might know how old the server is. Siemens server? It's old?
Old.
Okay, is that the same one that the control access is on? Okay, that's good because that one's Windows 98.
One last question. Can you give us a projection of about what we're looking at in terms of a dollar figure to get this the way it needs to be?
Anybody have a heart condition? You're probably looking close to $200,000 over 5 years.
Okay.
And the way it's written out, the RFP is written out, they'll basically front us all the equipment. The server alone is $50,000 to $75,000. Okay, so that takes up a lot. It's the head end of this. You have to build the infrastructure and then draw everything in with something they call a JACE, and all the programming is held there. But we don't have to put all this money out in front.
Yeah.
It's all the the hardware and software is basically on a 5-year interest-free loan. So we just make payments over 5 years instead of making those big $200,000 payments like we've done to Siemens over the years.
That's fine, yeah. No, 200,000 is a lot, but I was concerned it was going to be more than that.
I haven't priced one out in
I've seen
5 years, so.
control jobs and ready to go, and I was worried that we were really, 200's a lot, but that's better than I was anticipating. Thank you.
We'll see, like, they're due next Thursday.
14th.
Yes. So I have had 4 different companies come in.
Yeah.
I have another one coming in tomorrow. So we will have a wide range. And they're all falling within the parameters of the specs we wrote.
Thank you.
Anything else? I can go hide again?
Thank you.
So 15.1, public comment. Yeah, if you can. State your name. You don't need to state your address and all that anymore, I don't think.
It's just that you're from Danville.
Alexis Schaefer. Hi, I'm here today because my son's coat was stolen from the playground on November 13th. I got in contact with the school that Thursday, so a few days after, because he didn't bring it home. And the student that took it wore it to school all that week. Once Megan, who has gone above and beyond to try to help find this coat, sent out something, the child stopped wearing it. The parent claims they don't have it. Megan has taken her time with the police officer to go to this parent's house, and I feel like the police officer dropped the ball on this. He was notified November 20th of this and didn't do anything until I called again, just like I had called and left a message with Molly's secretary and nothing got done. I asked for a call back. I did not get one until I called again. Megan has gone above and beyond to try to find this coat, but everybody else has dropped the ball. So something needs to change here. If we have a police officer, he needs to do his job. If not, we need to find a new one, because he had 24 days now that my coat has been missing, and we still don't have it. So something needs to change, because this man did not do his job, and he failed my child. I had to go out and buy a new coat, and I shouldn't have to. So something needs to change here, and I don't know what, but we need to have better practices in place. Today I spent 4 hours on the phone calling from Molly. From the police officer first. He told me to call Molly. Molly told me to call state police. State police told me to call Danville Borough. Danville Borough told me to call back to the school police officer. Hours of my time wasted today while I tried to work from home. I shouldn't have to do that to try to get answers. I still don't have answers. I still was waiting for a call back from Molly. I spoke to her secretary at noon. I called the police officer, left a voicemail at noon, never received a call back. So I don't know what's going on here, but all I do know is that this woman back here has spent hours of her life reviewing security cameras, going above and beyond her job to help, but she can only do so much. And if nobody is giving her the resources to do that, and nobody is helping her, between her and her secretaries, they have done more than enough to help. So I don't know what needs to change here, but we need to do something, because it shouldn't take this long. It shouldn't take this much. Police showing up at someone's door to try to get this back, and we still don't have a resolution.
Mrs. Schaefer, I appreciate you being there. I know we've spoken several times on the phone, and I certainly am very thankful to Mrs. Geis and Mrs. Brady and Mrs. Schaefer for all of their efforts. As I explained on the phone, where we are with our school police officer is we won't be pressing charges against a student, because first of all, we don't know for sure that the student has the coat, and if they do, we can't assume a 5, 6, or 7-year-old stole a coat. So charges would actually have to be pressed against adults, because if they got a stolen coat and kept it. And so that's why we've had encouragement from our school police officer and myself that you work with the state police to do that. And our police officer today did speak with the state police, and we're certainly welcome and happy to speak with any agency about how to help them with pressing charges.
And the thing is what you're telling me is completely different than what the state police told me today. They stated they spoke to your police officer, and he said that he doesn't want their help, that he is handling it. He doesn't need them to go make any charges to the parents. So I'm getting the runaround between them and between your police officer and you. And I don't know what to do at this point, because you're telling me one thing, you're saying to call the state police. State police is telling me to call the Danville Borough, that it's their issue to deal with, and it's your school's police officer to deal with, that they aren't going to be doing anything. So I don't know what to do at this point.
Well, I don't believe that that represents the last conversation we had with the state police, but it sounds like maybe we need to invite an officer into the school and we could all sit down together.
Yes, I feel like we need to have a very large meeting with a lot of people. And I really feel that this parent involved needs to be brought into the school with a police officer, shown the camera footage of their child wearing said coat, and go from there. Because you can't deny when you have your child on camera. You can't. And it has been told that this child is on camera wearing the same color coat, but has not worn it since Molly has sent, or not, Megan has sent out a class tag. So once the parents realized it's a stolen coat, they have not sent their child to school in that coat.
So I have to say, I am sorry this happened to you, and these things can be very difficult to navigate. And I can see how frustrated and how upset you are. And I don't blame you for that at all. I think what it might be best to do is to come back to the administration and have them set up a time for a larger meeting to see if we can address this in a way that's useful to you. So I'm sorry you have gone through this, and I'm sorry you felt like you've been given the runaround. That's certainly not the district's intention at any time. And I can tell you're very frustrated, and it's been very frustrating. So I'm sorry for that. But let's let our administrators set up a time and a place and see if we can do a little better job of addressing your concerns. There are always limits to what the school can do in the end, but I'm sure they will do the best they can.
We'll certainly try.
So I appreciate you coming up here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Hi.
My name is Richard Brown. I just kind of caught this by whim because my son's on a field trip and the bus got a flat tire, so kind of waiting for them to get here. Saw the cars here. I just wanted to bring something up about Black History in February for the district. So wondering if you guys could do something curriculum-wise or have like a guest speaker come and speak, just for the diversity. I just recently this year volunteer coached for the Ironman for football, and it was great. Had a good experience. I just think we need a little more diversity there, considering that every year nothing really happens, and I've been in a district since 2012, and I understand that Geisinger runs a lot of different things and controls a lot of different entities here. Maybe I'm speaking to them, I don't know. But for my kids' sake and coming through the district, I just think that should be something that should be more explored, I guess. So.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service on the football team, and we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other public comment? So, Jennifer, we need to do an executive session for personnel issues. That would be best to do now, or adjourn first?
I would adjourn first if there's no additional board action, so then we can let the public be excused and then go to the executive session.
Okay, I don't think there is additional. So 16-1 adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Carried.
Voice vote.
Votes for it?
All
Say
in
aye.
favor?
Aye.